Okay, so we got that part done. Let's see here. Alicia and her spirit tutors quite literally saved this life. Thank you for interviewing her. I'm so glad you're feeling better. Thank you for the comment. I'm actually not feeling better. But I'll get through it. You know, powerful couple of days. What a really powerful sense of solstice for everybody. I was a little bit surprised by what's happening to my body today. But, you know, the way this thing works, if we don't experience it one way, we'll experience it another, right? So, yeah, we're excited about this show. We had a couple of really good shows today. If anyone didn't get to see our new friend Charan and also Zachariah Crawl, we're both talking about the same things in different language, and looking at the write-up that Alicia did for this show. I think it's going to be in perfect synchronicity and alignment with the two shows we had today. All right, let me go in and share this thing out. Let's see. It's funny how it becomes not difficult, but slower when it comes to just doing normal functions. Okay, we got 15 people in the house. Also, Zachariah, get out of here. Let's see here. All right. She's going to go out and come back in. She was having a little bit of a technical problem. Whew, man, this energy is about to take me. Yeah, about to take me out. Hello, Jody Lee, Diane Richards, Sasha Grace, Hi Puna. Thank you for sharing. Faye Menifee. Who else is here? Colette Avery, Crystal Hardy, Anyana Ring from Mexico. Yeah, we're starting to get people from all over the world. Some of these broadcasts, when the people tell us where they're from, they're just from everywhere. But I'm just rambling on because I'm trying to stay on top of the massive physical download I'm having in this moment. I was kind of wondering how I was going to make it through this show. But as they say, the show must go on, right? Just sending out some shares to some of the groups that resonate the same vibration. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Yeah, I knew this show was going to be powerful. The other two were powerful. It's a powerful, and I can usually tell too, sometimes before the show start, I start to get, I don't know if I feel the presence of the other person or that we start to merge or something like that. Hello, Cody Stoppard, long time no see. Shelley Meyer from Perth. Renee Morton, Amir McCooey, Janaya Mack from Byron Bay, Sasha Grace, Byron Bay, Scott R. May, Candace Graham, and McKean's coming on next couple of days. Who else is here? Beth Buslash always has something very, very nice to say, very supportive. Bernadette Hadamio Liao, Joe Delaney, Rocco Tunes, long time no see, Raquel. Big love to Ariel, Peggy Ray, Tom White Bear, the Soulogy comedian, Shelley Meyer. Good to see everybody. So let's see what else we got here. See, Leslie Reed says the whole month of July, hold on to your bootstraps. Well, I'm still in June. I'm just trying to focus on that. But I appreciate the advice. Hey, if you didn't get a chance to watch these, let me just say the normal announcements. If I can try to get past being tongue-tied. Interesting. There's a volcano. Okay, Paul says this show will be powerful. I feel it. There's a volcano in Mexico with activity since the solstice, and ships are being seen on top of it, and an earthquake in Kansas. And I also saw there was an earthquake, I think yesterday, 7.4 was in Northern California. Seems like things are moving pretty fast, moving to a more intensity and that type of thing. You have to pardon me because I'm trying to balance myself and integrate. We appreciate everybody's sharing these shows so we can stay above the algorithms on Facebook. Typically, like in this case, the third show of the day, it takes a good 10 or 15 minutes before people get the message. That's not because of anything on our end, it's just because that's the way their algorithms work. And we also appreciate everybody's love and support and contribution so we can keep doing this every day by the seat of our pants, which is okay. That's not a complaint. Here's Alicia. Get her up here on the stage. Hopefully she's got her tech worked out.
Here we are.
See, there you go. So I've been over here like a stand-up comic on the amateur night.
yeah. How are you feeling, Todd? How are you feeling? You've been doing a few interviews today, huh?
Yeah, the interviews are fine. I didn't have like intense. Sometimes I have like intense, not intense, but multi-dimensional experiences. They were very interesting. The first lady, Sharon, has been a geneticist, worked in a laboratory for 13 years, studied DNA, and she just came on and had this really simple process of alignment. It was just like, I don't get impressed that easy, but I thought it was really good. I did it with her online. I just did it what she was explaining.
Yeah.
And then we had Zachariah Crawl, who really explained the same thing in his own language. And then I had read, that's what I was telling everybody as we were waiting for you. Then I had read your topic, and it's right in line with what they were talking about. So
God.
So I know this is right. I know this is, and this is how these shows have been going with more and more accuracy. There's a flow, there's a symmetry, there's a synchronicity, all those words tied into one, there's a grace to it and they're all connected. Yeah.
So beautiful.
It
says so much about how you and Morgan are the intention behind everything you guys are doing. The spirit world's just pushing that much wind behind your sails, just supporting and just creating this amazing, graceful experience for all your watchers and listeners, and for you. I've never been a Telesummit host or a host for lots and lots of guests, but I can imagine, my goodness, if you've had like 3 different guests in one day.
Yeah, we do quite a bit.
That's a lot of energy.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, sometimes people write me and say, you need to take a break. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been an evolution, but we do about 80 a month, and it's interesting because it's been an evolution, and I agree with what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're saying. There's something about what we're doing, and this is just from my own universe, is that it's not the old paradigm. So we just keep being told, put it out from your heart, put it out from your heart, put it out from your heart, and everything will come to you. And it gets a little freaky sometimes and a little scary, and the bank account gets very skinny, and you know how that goes because you've been in a long time and you've experienced that. But it is magic and it's working, and I think it's reflective of what's going on everywhere.
So call out to everybody watching this. If you want to support these, what Todd and Morgan are doing, there's ways to donate to what they're doing. Anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Thank you for that.
I just think, honestly, because what I'm feeling is the clarity that the cleanness of your intention. It's so clean. It's very rare to come across. There's so many beautiful light workers, I'm just saying, but oh my God, there's just where people just go, this life is not about money. My mum passed away a couple of years ago, and there was this beautiful family member. She happened to be running the hospice that my mum was, where she was, and before she passed away. And at a family gathering afterwards, after mum had passed away, we were chatting, and I just looked at her in the eye and I said, this life is just not about money. I've got relatives who are really well off, and we live in this life where success and money are just like this like major thing. It's like major on people's like movie screens in their heads, and life goes by so quickly, eh? Like we pass out, we pass away, we die really quickly. What do they call it? Mortality motivation.
Mortality.
Yeah,
hurry up yeah. Save enough money so you can pay for your own funeral. You come in free and have to pay to get out of here.
But it's like when a relative passes away, someone you love passes away, like for me, for my mum, whenever anyone, we just go, shoot, this life's really short, and it's just not about money. So I'm just saying that, and I got to that point, and I just know that it's really like a challenge and a test, I think, that the angels, that universe sometimes puts us through, where we rise above the fear of not having enough money. It's a huge training, because that is when you step into fearless leadership. And that's what you and Morgan are doing. You're going, yeah, we need to meet our bills. It's all practical, but the fire in the belly is so much higher than any of that. I know, I feel it from you guys.
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
I really do. For some reason, I really get that.
I needed that little. I don't normally need like inspiration, motivation, but it gets a little, it gets a little tough sometimes. But that's just reflective of what everybody's going through. So those words can be, translated to everybody. Which is bringing us to this topic, this very cool topic that you brought up, which is accelerated awakening. And these questions, I love this. Are there levels of the spirit worlds that can and do awaken us with love faster? Faster. What is their agenda? What is awakening? And this is my favorite one. How does shadow play into this action of awakening? Let me give a little bit of your bio, just because some people may not have met you before. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. But Alicia is a former journalist. She is a consciousness thought leader, a master energy healer, and an advanced intuitive. She's authored over 11 popular online courses and a popular guest on International Consciousness Telesummit. She's a prolific blogger on YouTube and a passionate transformational speaker. Her Twitter feed is followed by 52,000 people. So that anyone that might have a question about our beloved sister's credibility, I think that does it all. If that doesn't, you can read the rest of it.
You can read the rest of it.
So what is accelerated awakening?
Yeah. Whoa. Okay. So I've been working very deliberately in kind of one-on-one situations with very senior levels of the spirit world for just under 30 years, 27 years, meaning that I'm in the inner worlds with spirit, not only as an energy healer and watching spirit technicians rewire human consciousness and the fabric of the light waves in human auras, and I've been doing that for about 30 years, but just spending time with them, eyeballing them, and having conversations with them for a very long time, just under 3 decades. And these are senior levels of the spirit world that I work with. And this is why the topic today is focused on acceleration, because the more senior the authority and the levels of the spirit world that you eyeball and that you have conversations with, then there's questions can be put to you by them. I'm not saying that everybody you know, can just do this at the top of the hat, but with practice you can. I started off talking to the spirit world without, sort of just by picking up a book and just starting some exercises, and then quite quickly progressed. I'm just saying that I love teaching people how to do this, because if I can start talking to the spirit worlds and then progress into quite senior levels and working with them in real detail like this, a lot of people can. And so I'm really passionate about teaching people how to do it. But I just wanted to say that when you do eyeball and talk to and look at and spend time one-on-one with senior levels of the spirit world and ask them questions, then they've got an opportunity from their level of height of what I call authority to ask me, questions like, can we accelerate your consciousness? Because they've got the ability to do it. And when I'm saying the ability, that means that, and this is the key thing here right now, is that their waveforms of light are holding a height of spirit intelligence that when it touches lower layers of light below it, including my auric field, which is full of light waves, and including all of you guys watching, the light waves in your auric field, which is an electromagnetic morphogenic field of energy, and it's the hard drive of all your thought waves and all your emotions and attitudes, right? It's all sitting in your electromagnetic field. We're not used to thinking, because it's invisible, that it's a thing, but actually it's holding data. Quantum computers these days, people have to walk out of the room so that the computer doesn't pick up the attitude and the expectation of the person who's about to interact with it. Quantum mechanics, quantum computers, this is all now. It's not in the future anymore. It's already happening. So the electromagnetic waveforms and light waves is something that is in conversation right now, in circles, you know, everywhere. So I'm talking about, this is where I think people who, you know, if you want to get ahead of the game, it's time to start talking to the worlds of spirit who are senior scientists in light waves. I wish I could just say that to some quantum scientists. Why aren't you reaching into the worlds of spirit and finding someone who's got a hand already and a highway of training and communication and communing with senior levels of the scientists of light waves? Anyway, and so these very senior levels of authority in the spirit world very quickly can scan anyone's auric field and see, because I'm a technician, I'm going to start talking about the technology of it. And I know you quite like this. They can see the style of waveforms that are sitting in our auric field. Style meaning how loaded up is it with different types of light software. I call it software because it really is. I watch these technicians go into someone's auric field and in half a minute zero in on a little humming bit of software and read it, literally read it, go, okay, where's this coming from? Who's owning it? What's their intention? What are they trying to do to this organism of light that this is sitting in? It's like an implant. And
so kind of like so it would be kind of like, be careful what you project towards somebody, not spoken, your thoughts.
Look, I'm just saying that it's almost beyond our conscious capability of understanding the sophistication of light technology that the worlds of spirit actually work with. That's what I'm trying.
But I mean, like in your example, what they went in and honed in on might be a little bit of software running that was somebody else thinking something that was not too nice about you or whatever.
Correct.
That imprinted on you, and they went in, and that's what you were explaining.
Correct. Yeah, actually, that's right, Todd. And I was just saying that what I wanted to say was, you know, we've got a generic term for it, which is shadow, because it could be what's laced and woven into the light waves of some patches in your auric field. Some of the light waves in your auric field, what could be woven into it is some software that is shadow based, meaning it's not very high light, it's quite low light. Shadow based light. And there are many consciousnesses in the spirit world that, I'm getting into the deep end straight away, that
Go for it. All right.
there are many consciousnesses in the spirit world that are jockeying for priority in terms of the collective resonance of your auric field.
Yeah.
So they're wanting you to have lower thought forms, because whatever is humming in your auric field pushes your thoughts around. It really does. It can even steer your attention and your thought wave, your thought loops. And what you start getting into this kind of, you know, into a sort of weird focus on, right? Where everybody knows this, like, oh my God, I'm drowning. Oh my God, I can't do this. And oh my God, this is happening to me. And it just goes round and round and round. So, and what that's doing, the reason why some of the shadow software loves to sort of generate thought experiences in us and therefore pushing our emotions around, is it starts to amplify lower feelings. It starts to amplify disempowerment. It starts to amplify fear, right? The generic resonance of shadow. And they love that. That's a game for them. It's a game. Okay, so shadow is designed, its software is designed to push light around, to kind of switch off light, actually. And so it's really interesting. I was having this thought just before this interview. This conversation is traveling all over the place.
That's okay. Just keep going. This is part of the reason. I was discombobulated. But I want to go back to that real quick, because I just want to make sure people picked up on that. So, you know, what you're describing, and I remember when I came off the street 6 years ago, Ann Kagan wrote a book called The Afterlife of Billy Fingers, which was her brother. She was like a psychologist, which was her brother who started talking to her. And one of the things he said was, in the book, was, if human beings could see what I'm looking at and see how this thing's working and realized how little they had to do with what they were doing, they would all, like, you know, say, hey man, what's up with this? And everybody would be a lot friendlier to each other. The other thing I think of too, what you're speaking of, is, you know, I mean, 1/4 of the Nag Hammadi, the Dead Sea Scrolls, is all about the archons. And that was written, or at least they think was written 500 years BC. And it's exactly what they're talking about. They're talking about manipulating, distorting, you know, the world to gain some type of energetic sustenance. That's
correct. Energetic sustenance, exactly. Okay, so there are levels of the spirit world, both shadow and light. And they all oversee and mentor in their respective sort of resonance pyramids of authority. They oversee and mentor the layers of beings below them. So there are higher levels of authority in shadow world and the light, in the worlds of light, etc. And they're just mentoring. And so there are extensions. It's like mischievous little beings all the way up to very high overseer levels of both light and both shadow. So I'm just saying that it's very complex, and there are nearly unlimited kinds of species and tribes and communities of both light and shadow. It's incredibly complex. If you look at humanity and the different kinds of humanity, you know, just all the different cultures, that's complex. Like, how many of us are there? 7.5 billion or something now. But I'm just saying, in the spirit world, again, nearly unlimited in the complexity. And what you just said, which is key, which is that humanity is bumping into walls with zero awareness that their consciousness, what they're actually occupying their attention with, their thoughts, most of the time, is being kind of engineered, is being puppeteered, is being generated by whatever software is sitting in them. And I just want to blurt this out. So in a way, our lifespan of birth to death, according to the type of high soul that we are of light, is a journey of discovery of how to turn back inside into the worlds, into the inner quantum worlds, how to do that. start getting smart about how to operate with a major challenge at hand, which is that there are background forces wanting to control your video screen.
Yeah.
And we can just, this is such a sophisticated conversation.
No,
I hope you
I'm
don't
loving
mind.
it. I'm digging
Oh,
it.
good.
No, I'm all
Oh,
for
good.
it.
Oh, good.
No, this is all.
So this video screen is a hologram. It's an electromagnetic force field that we're sitting within, and we're wandering and walking in a continuum, which is a holographic continuum. And so what we're looking at as solid isn't really solid. We all know that. Quantum physicists all know that. And this is really interesting, is that that journey of us being incarnate in a human personality, in a human body at this time, at any moment, could be a journey of discovering that, number one, you are spirit and you're not a human body. And number two, what the heck is happening in the worlds of spirit if I am a spirit sitting in this human body? And what is interacting with me in the multidimensional spirit realms as I'm walking in this holographic continuum? What's interacting with me?
Yeah.
And can I gain the skills, glug, 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 take a breath, you know, in the ocean, can I gain the skills to stay above the intention of shadow, which can quite easily come into my auric field? If somebody here is an energy worker and thinks that if you just say, hey, go away, or just put a little bubble of light around yourself, that's enough. I'm just letting you know that the world of spirit are extraordinarily sophisticated.
Yeah.
And
It all happens in here.
And that shadow
Yeah.
is extraordinarily sophisticated. And this is why, from the earliest time when I started to put my hand up and say, hey guys, in the worlds of spirit, I want to turn around and look at you, and I want you guys to start training me about what shadow really is.
Yeah.
And I want you to start training me about who I really am. And I want you to start training me in watching what you guys do when you deal with shadow, when manage shadow in my auric field or somebody else's auric field, so that I start getting strong, sort of competent, I think is the word, so that I start getting competent in reaching for you guys really fast, because you guys are my management team, you're my consultants in this extraordinary experiment. You're my consultants, you're my support team. We're walking forward together in this continuum, like they are and I, we're walking forward together, almost like there's nobody else here, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that the challenges are in the worlds of spirit. Anybody, any leader on the planet, anyone who's got a mental health problem, any dark person that we know is infused with shadow software of varying levels of seniority that's running them and running their focus, running their intention, running their thoughts, running their decisions. So
I find
it's a thing.
Yeah, I love this. This is new ground here at Soulogy. I mean, at least the specificity of the topic. I love the fact that they turn around and ask you questions, because that tells me what I already know. I am soul. You know, I mean, it tells me that, at least in my travels, you know, I know everything I come across now. It took a while to get there, but I am sovereign. I have dominion. I have choice. You know, I am just as they are. I just happen to be I'm in a physical body, which I think is a big part of what you're talking about, because as I get it, like if you go back to the Dead Sea Scrolls, they cannot create. They cannot create. They can only distort. They can only propagandize, you know? And that's
Correct.
what you're talking about. So that their influence, then that's why it abides with universal law, because their influence still, they influence. They don't force, they influence, and it requires our consent to do whatever we do. And this is beautiful, what you're talking about, because it shows how deep this thing really goes. But I like what you're saying, because now you're saying, okay, how do I operate my life? And get off of, oh, I got to go do this in the physical to get that. and you're operating from your team forward in a Q&A, which is fantastic.
So we're all pretty smart. You know, we're looking around, excuse my language, looking around. We're looking around at our life.
That's because you're talking to me. That's because of my
that's right, yeah. So, you know, I'm just saying that anyone who's watching this, you're smart, we're smart. We're trying to manage our lives. And then there's levels of, you know, smart. Meaning that you're in an environment. What is controlling your consciousness? That's another level of smart, because the subliminal, you know this, many people watching this know this, the subliminal collective of all the resonances of your current aura and also your past life wounding that sits also in higher layers of your aura. It's a collective snapshot of resonance. You know, someone take a photo of the whole total of all of the different pockets of shadow, pockets of wounding. So that is pushing itself onto your holographic movie screen.
Yeah.
On a collective base, but also on a personal base. And this shimmering mirror turns on a dime. It's reflective. And that means that the moment that you raise your frequency, we all know this, the moment you go into deep prayer and reach for the spirit worlds deeply, they come, they arrive.
Yes, they do.
And I just want to say, their method, their instrument, the tool they use instantly is light. So they will, this is just quickly a side issue, they will flood your auric system with higher vibratory light, higher frequency light. And what can happen is new thoughts, new inner sense of strength and confidence. And so you make an action or you make a decision, which previously in your disempowered state, you weren't able to, you just weren't capable of a moment ago. And so they shift your whole platform. They change your, and that's the thing they do in answer to prayers, right?
Yeah.
So, so I'm just saying that it's very, very smart for any human to turn their attention inwards, which really has been my motivation for decades, to train people to turn around and eyeball spirit guides, like bona fide good spirit guides, who can start training their inner perception, who can start training them to be strong, who can clear their auric field of their soul wounds, excuse me. And by the way, you were asking, and the topic and the focus of today is awakening, and I just want to say this really clear thing. Awakening, generally speaking, unless there's a major intervention by higher light, generally speaking, awakening is pulling away the shades, the veil. And the way you do that is by transmuting shadow out of your auric field. So the less shadow, the less shadow occupies your auric field, the more you recognize what this reality actually is, which is that it's a hologram. And the more you recognize what shadow is, the characteristics of shadow in a person, in yourself, anywhere, you see it coming a mile away. And awakening also is, as you're talking about sovereignty, where when you know that you're a high spirit of light operating in a temporary experience of density as a human being, there's an enormous amount of sovereignty that sits in that state, right? When you know that, when you're operating from that. So awakening, to me, the path to awakening, and I call it deliberate awakening, is setting up communication, deliberate communication, regular meetings with high levels of spirit guides who take you on as a project, and they commit to you in this lifetime to peel away, and not only that, strengthen by clearing all the soul wounds. And so what starts happening is you start to gain authority. Authority of clarity of what is and what isn't light. And from that inner position, you
Yeah.
can manage your life with clarity.
I love this too, because I've always had, I'm going to just say it because I'm not in the mood to mess around today. So, but I've always had a problem, which is my problem, which is my shadow, with people who are very, adamant about diet, or that are 5G and GMOs and fluoride and chemtrails, and I'm thinking to myself, that's got a physical implication. I understand that. That may also have an implication and become an obstruction to our third eye, or pineal gland, or whatever. But what you're talking about, and what I've learned from Morgan with the shadows, that takes care of the whole ball of wax. I mean, it's like you're over here fighting with the little underlings, when you can go in with the elite staff and be well represented, and really be on the journey that you're on, and develop and expand your power.
Thank you. Yeah. Beautifully said, Todd. Yeah, absolutely. Partnerships. Getting partnerships. All of you guys that are watching this and who are already in touch with the worlds of spirit, with your spirit guides and your guidance. I'm a big one on getting quite specific with my partnerships in the worlds of spirit, meaning that you've got a go-to point of reference. It's a coordinate point in the matrix, in the worlds of spirit, where you actually go to a specific being who's got specialities, who's got a very specific level of authority, who's got a lineage of light and of authority that's clean, that hasn't been laced with shadow. There's a lot of, in the worlds of spirit, that are spirit guides that have got a tiny little seed of shadow in there too, and it's just really tricky. So I'm just saying that partnerships are so important, and also the cleanliness of the partnerships that you have in the worlds of spirit. Really, honestly, this game is a quantum game. I want everyone who's watching this to really get that. This is a quantum game. This is not about chemtrail. This is not about how bad the government is. That's if anyone has got zero empathy for one individual, one human, let alone like whole communities of humans, then you and I both know what's sitting in their auric field. If you haven't got empathy, just by the way, one of the targets of shadow, if shadow software and shadow entities and shadow beings and higher shadow beings are infusing somebody's auric field, one of their targets is to switch off the heart, is to actually just switch it off. It's like the chakra, the heart chakra, just close it. And at that point, this is why I've got a lot of compassion, even for people who are raving lunatics or are evil, because I actually know what's going on in their auric field. So the heart chakra gets closed. They cannot feel anybody outside themselves anymore. No feeling. They can't notice the needs of anyone outside themselves. They can't even, it just is a different system operating in their auric field, in their consciousness. And so they're operating very differently.
That's
empathy, right?
That's a very, I remember reading a piece on the concentration camp, and how the military was using meth on the guards to desensitize them, which was having the same energetic effect. And we know that particular, that the Nazis were really into. They were into communicating with the other side. They were very much into esoteric and occult and that type of thing. But that was done energetically to shut their hearts off. Which is to your point. That's
correct. Something that intrigues me, my parents went through the Second World War and in Europe, and were refugees. Dad spent 5 years in a German prisoner of war camp. My mother was taken to Siberia as a young child.
Wow.
And for 2 years, and just by luck got out of there with all her little, they were orphaned, all their little brothers and sisters. But I was just going to say that apparently Hitler had a doctor who gave him a cocktail every day in the morning. And so what was running that individual.
Right.
Who, it'd be very interesting. But anyway, let's get our minds away from that. But so
you're back to the you were back to
the high authority spirit guides.
Yeah.
So partnerships are the key. Really, honestly, everyone, this is a quantum game. So how your mind is functioning at any moment, how you're feeling at any moment. It's a quantum situation, meaning that it's a spirit world situation. You're a spirit and you're holding a quantum field of energy. What's going on in your quantum field of energy? It is running how you're feeling. It's running how you're thinking at any moment. So if you're noticing, if there's a sort of observer in you noticing that your thoughts are powerless and disempowered thoughts, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I won't get up and do that. Or, oh, that's too much for me right now. Or, oh, if I, I'm in a really financial disempowered place, I won't ring that company and have a communication with them and tell them how, what's going on for me. They won't want to know about it. It's like, and so there's this running software that's running your computer at this level. And so to turn around to a partnership that you've built up and say, glug, 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 I'm drowning. And to take the effort internally to turn around to a spirit guide who is a master at reweaving light waves. Okay, a master, like eons of mastery training, eons. Not somebody who's learned how to do energy healing for 2 years, right? This is like eons and eons and eons. These guys are like super masters of energy work. So you turn to someone like that and you go, I'm drowning. Like this conscious self is feeling really horrible at the moment. Yeah. Can you look at my auric field? And see, this is what I've done now for 30 years. I've worked with them doing the work because they're exponentially smart at what they're doing. So I look at them and I go, and I say to them, please look at my auric field. Look at this, the whole, wiring of what's going on in me. I can't see what's going on. Yeah. Instantly, they will see where that software is. Yeah. And because of us, they'll go in and they'll pull it out. Like this great big something or other will just get pulled out. And literally in like 15 seconds, like my whole electromagnetic force field is changed. Yeah. Everything, the whole system recalibrates in 15 seconds. My thoughts start having a whole different thought stream, completely different in that 15 seconds. And I notice myself just instantly. Yeah. You experience this when Morgan probably works on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're speaking the same language. I mean, that example that's an example, for instance, of something she probably took me through 2 years ago that after 2 or 3 sessions of that, I can do it. I was able to do it on my own very quickly, which is a great thing too, which is a quantum characteristic as well of what you're talking about. Because for instance, if we fast forward now, because we're in a relationship, and that's a different template than a singular one, but I mean, we still have the same experience. So now we're laying in bed, we join our palms, we connect, and we pull next thing you know, we're standing before a monad. And the other night, this was about 2 weeks ago, we had four of the monad members had a triad soul merging with us. And it just keeps going, where the monad 3 months ago was Merlin and this and that and this. And these 4 people were people we know that are incarnated on this earth. So we're like, wow, what's next? Yeah. But I think this is just our view, from our perspective, how the universe is communicating to us of exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, totally. I mean, it never stands pat. It just keeps expanding.
Oh, totally.
You never know what you're going to get.
No, I'm being told to say right now that the more you interact with whoever your partnerships are, excuse me, their mentors and their higher echelons of authority that they're connected, their lineages, yes, are also mentoring them and you. So can I just say, there's a huge push in the worlds of spirit to awaken as many humans and individuals as possible. Everybody, all the tribes are working together in the tribes of light at this moment. There's quite a sort of a crescendo of density just at the moment. And it's a little bit, and I'm being told to say it's like a little bump that we're getting over just at the moment. So it's like this little wrinkle.
Was
anyway,
what's the bump? Was that the solstice or was that this incarnation?
Actually over the solstice. Yeah. Over
Well,
the solstice.
and I want to validate too what you're saying too. I want to validate what you just said, because that's very important. So like, okay, for instance, a lot of us started, like I did. So it was like 3 spirit guides, 6 ascended masters, and and a couple of divine essences, and you go along, and then you start to embody them. When we started, we got pulled into a monad back in January, which was the first time, right? And then a few weeks later, we get pulled up for one. And this being that stepped forward was Morgan and I contained in one spirit, right? Talking to him, telling us what was happening. But to your point, I said, hey, are you connected to that monad that we were in a couple of weeks ago? And they said, yes. And then they explained that these 12 that were in these partners, you call it partnerships, that were in this group, each had their own. So to your point, anytime you're connecting or merging with one of these partners, you're actually pulling in everything they're connected to that's supporting them, right? That's a very, very important. And the fact that that's expanding, and I know we're not unique, that energy is here and becoming more and more apparent, due to people like you.
And the point I was actually wanting to make just before is that every time, like say you and Morgan, or anyone who's interacting in a partnership with the worlds of spirit, clean light, make sure it's clean light, with their lineages, that their lineages are clean. Just every time you connect with them, whether it's every morning, whatever, guess what? It's like in a quantum world, I guess, there's that self-learning algorithm in a way, really, honestly. And what starts to happen is your subliminal conscious electromagnetic fields start reaching, and I'm being told to say this, for your higher lineages that you actually originated from, and the teams that are sitting around that are kind of connected with your personal lineages, where you've played with them in other higher soul existences previously, so they're around as well. And they're really rooting for you, you know what I mean? Like they're going, come on, go, like increase your light. And then there's the particular teams that you're connecting with deliberately, which may not even be connected with your personal lineage, but they've come in, they've put their hand up, they're going, we're going to start interacting consciously with you. And they've got their sort of wider lineages that they're connected to. But the point I'm making here is that what starts happening is acceleration in terms of how your subliminal electromagnetics is picking up what's going on, and they are downloading a ton of software to help you recognize more and more and more of what's going on subliminally in that interaction, in that partnership. So there's the self-learning, super fast extrapolation of speed of you noticing what's going on, which means that you and Morgan are getting accelerated faster and faster and faster. So the point I'm making for anyone watching this is that the more often you touch and have a moment of connection with your personal spirit guide, there's this massive speed that starts happening in your intelligence. It just gets faster and faster and faster and faster. I just want to say this for healers, anyone who's a healer. It's just classic for anyone who starts, at the beginning of Reiki or just starts doing a bit of energy work. 10 years down the track, man, they have passed, if you're doing it regularly, every day as an energy healer or just regularly, the speed with which you're operating in those partnerships is so extrapolated, it's so amplified. You've left behind, the original sort of system that you were operating with, and you're just in this super high highway of partnership, consciousness partnership with them. You know exactly what they're saying to you at any moment. You're flowing with them. this is what I'm saying. It's like there's a speed that just starts, happening. The more you actually show up, connecting with them.
Yeah.
I just think it's very important. People don't realize this. There's this amazing merging, actually. It's like a merging.
It is emerging. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. It is it's an exchange of code, and it's like what you said too. Yeah, they're downloading stuff to us as we choice point after choice point after choice point, contraction, expansion. But they're also uploading. They're also uploading our experiential because they can't do that.
Yeah, I totally get
we're boots on the ground.
Yeah,
we're them.
Yeah.
Next time, that's what I always say. We're down here doing the work.
No.
Next time we're going to be the Archangel Michaels and the Magdalenes and the Kuan Yins and supporting.
Todd, I am 100,000,000% in agreement with what you just said. So true. There's it's like, no one's higher or lower. I've just talked about a hierarchy of mentorship, but
no. Yeah.
But I just want to, I totally agree with you. I'm on the same level as these guys. Like, there's a job to be done.
But you're right. And for whatever reason, and really, okay, we're not talking hierarchy here. We're talking who's done the work, because we know the universe does not give you anything for free. You got to put it out to get it back. Yeah. So some paths, some partnerships, some soul communities, whatever you want to call it, they've done more work. That's all there is to it. They've stepped through more, fires. I don't know what the recipe is, but I find it very interesting what you said. I'd never heard that, that they actually ask you questions.
Oh, yeah.
Which tells you how they hold you, the human hybrid soul, in esteem. They have, and then I remember my higher self telling me a few months ago, hey, yeah, you're learning from me, but I'm learning from you. And I was like, what? But I get that now. We undervalue, we've done nothing but undervalue, and I'm not coming down on us, but I mean, the realm was built where we undervalue ourselves. Those things that we didn't know about were influencing us with their agendas. And it was all about keeping us down, but the ball game's over now. So let's kick some ass. Excuse me.
Yeah, totally. Look, there are a lot of beings. I've, generally speaking, worked with beings who've never incarnated, because like fairly high and now for 27 years, like these overseer creator beings, overseers of beyond all universes, they call themselves. So I just wanted to say that, where was I going with that? Just won't be a minute. So they look at souls that have incarnated and are on a mission to shine a lot of light with incredible, they're just kind of like gasping with amazement at our courage to be here in this density and to be pushing up against the challenge of shadow and just holding ourselves with the most utmost commitment to handle the pain of loss of memory of what we truly are as high beings of light. So handling the pain of that amnesia, it's not the fact, it's just a shadow base. It's just like this compacted somewhere, Anyway, but what I want to say is one of the big things that I think I've mentioned. Did I mention this to you in our last conversation? Just really quickly, is that anyone with a big heart, huge generosity of spirit, and who's just willing to just keep pushing through the challenge, because there's a power driving them, and the power is their soul's mission, their own soul's agenda to be here, pushing through, like my parents who went through the Second World War and came out as extraordinary, huge generosity of spirit people, just huge generosity. So in the worlds of spirit, when someone like that passes back into the worlds of spirit, they have something that other spirit beings don't have, and they have a level of grunt. They have a level of power, because they've actually grown into a level of clarity of what light is versus what light isn't.
Yeah.
So they've just pushed against the not light for so long, and they've not given up, and they've grown power. This is a thing in the world of spirit. Most people
I agree.
aren't aware of this, by the way.
I totally agree with this. I totally align with this. Absolutely.
It's something I've discovered by chatting to relatives that have passed over.
Yeah.
And also my spirit mentors have told me as well and shown me that
And the other way. Yeah.
holding on to light no matter what, loving no matter what.
Yeah.
Let's say that again. Loving no matter what.
Yeah.
And Todd, you've been on the streets, right? And you have walked a path, and I can't even imagine, of just somehow your soul has emerged out of an experience of being on an edge, and you've walked through the fire, and you're with a beautiful partner now. You're cleaning up your auric field. Your cognition, your recognition of who you are. You're just on a speed of growth, and you're mentoring people by bringing lots and lots of light workers on to mentor an audience. What a position you're in now. What a position of power, like love power, light power. What an incredible service, you're doing now. But what tenacity you grew. Do you want to share a little bit about what's in you, about that sort of intention that you have now? As an example,
I am lit up this whole show. I'm thinking I'm going to actually transcend here in a minute. Well, we're using me as an example. All right, I'll give you that. All right, because but I see this in a lot of people.
Yeah,
I see it in Morgan. Morgan's not been real public about her story. She's talked about it a couple times, but people suffered far worse than I did. That's the way I look at it. Did I suffer? Hell yeah, I did. But I love what you said about, because if I look at people like you, like her, so many people on this show, 1,000+ shows, so many people, when did you wake up? And they all have this story, these successive traumas that came boom, 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 boom. You know how it is. And they didn't give up. They kept loving. Empaths, perfect example. Empaths with narcissists. They stayed for love. They stayed for love. They got beaten up for love. And yet, eventually, the tables turned, and so you and I appreciate that. You're using me as an example. Yeah, but as the individual goes, so goes the collective. And there's many, 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 many valiant, awakened souls that have the same story and the same trajectory, which it goes back to what you said earlier about what's going on right now. The level of interest in the universal community is at an all-time high. They're on the edge of their seats, waiting to see what we're going to do and how far we're going to take it. This is just our turn. It's our turn. And I just want to, I told Morgan the other day, I just want to give it my best shot, because I never know. You never know if you're going to get it back again, right? You just don't know how that's going to go. So, yeah.
So beautiful, so beautiful. Oh my God.
So many people, though, have come on this show. Sarah Griffiths, the one that was on, the lady that was on about a week ago. Sarah Griffiths, born with, was told she'd never walk.
Wow.
She'd never be out of a wheelchair. And never have kids. She's got 2 kids. She's married to the love of her life, and she's thriving. And I'm like, we got things to worry about. This person's overcome all of this stuff. This person in her first pregnancy was 6 months in a bed with some type of pregnancy-related affliction. And there's so many stories out there. Yeah, it's an exciting time to be, and people need this information that you're giving. They need it, and they want it. I think that's the difference. You're not crazy anymore. You don't have to worry about getting burned at the stake anymore. For all the stuff that's going on in the world that's not cool, by the human perception only, there's a lot of really, really powerful things happening right now, and it's time to rise.
It is time to rise. It's time to rise. It is time to rise. Can I say one other thing? My spirit teams are actually telling me to say. It's also time to turn our attention inwards and to connect with overseer levels of the spirit world who've got speed of light, like a particular type of frequency of light that can come in when it touches you. It can release a lot of shadow very quickly. I'm not sure if I said that. This is a key thing. So these very high, and I welcome you and Morgan playing with these guys as well. I welcome anyone who connects with the spirit world to play with these guys and to let their light touch your auric fields. Because again, there'll be speed. Even wherever you're at, there'll be speed to even another level. And so what my spirit teams are saying is that it is time to rise, and it's also time to get higher light, to let higher light. This is something that last weekend we actually did a big group, a very, very powerful group, global healing. And we let these higher beings of light come into our auric field and then run through our auric fields and then transmit sideways into the collective and into Mother Earth's auric field. It was a huge, very powerful infusion of very high frequency light, just saying. And
was that online? Did you do that online?
Yeah, I did it. It was a private live stream.
Okay.
But I just want to say that my teams are just saying that it is time actually to reach for very high senior levels of the worlds of spirit. These very high creator beings, deliberately connect with their light, with their type of light, and for various reasons, for one's own software to upgrade really fast, one's own spiritual intelligence software, but also to let that frequency of light through the pipe so it transmits subliminally, multidimensionally into the quantum, which then it's intelligent. It seeks and finds and hunts and then changes, touches and changes, right? So there's a lot of that can happen. So these guys, I just want to say they have an agenda. Actually, they are wanting to infuse the collective of humanity and also Mother Earth's electromagnetic force fields as well, where there's a lot of shadow communities embedded in her auric fields, a lot of kingdoms and communities of shadow beings sitting in there, and these higher beings are used to, through me and through others, coming through, scanning and finding these layers and transmuting them quite quickly. Are very, very onto it. They're very used to switching off shadow. In case people haven't heard me say that, they're actually really used to switching off shadow very, very fast because of their level of authority, because they're not sort of in this system. They're not in the universe of light and shadow. They're way, 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 way above it.
I like what you said about the threading of the light waves and energy. I can see that level of intelligence.
There's an intervention happening, Todd.
I think
I'm serious.
No, I agree with that. I think however, absolutely. I think basically somebody said time's up. This has gone on long enough, and we're kind of like going down the home stretch, and people are literally stretching. There's people out there stretching this experience, and I like the way you explain it from the non-human dimensions from that perspective, because I think that's really something that we really struggle with collectively in our journey in the human race has been, we're just little bitty human beings. We're just one vote. The dog has found the tail, The dog was chasing its own tail and it found it and figured it out. It was him all along. Yeah.
Todd, about 2 years into working with these creator beings, I will call them creator beings, that's what they call themselves, overseer beings. About 2 years, and it's now been 27 years, right, working with them. So about 2 or 3 years into working with them, they started to train me into this thing. And this thing is to instruct them from a point of view of being a human. So they went, we are who we are. We're the high overseer being. And we want you to notice what you want changed about yourself, about the collective. And we would like a human free will to send its instruction to us, because it gives us permission to come in and change something. So this was 25 years ago. This is a thing that they are so passionate about, to partner with humans, with anyone who'd love to partner with them. Because they really do want the human free will engaged in allowing them to come in. Because they're not, they designed the free will experiment. Or I should say they allowed someone else, a creator being who was a bit lower than them, to create the human experiment and to create this free will zone. They're way above it, but they allowed it to happen. But it's complete sacrosanct to them. Whenever anyone starts working with them one-on-one, they start building your free will. They start helping you notice what your free will is. It's the other way around. They'll never override it. Never. It's their thing of building the muscle of your free will. That's their whole thing. So so they've taught me a long time ago, and they're really hot on finding people who will partner with them and instruct them, which give on what they want, what a human will wants to happen here in this physical plane. Is everybody hearing this? This is huge, because it gives them permission to come in and in the background quantum fields do some shifting.
Very cool.
So, I know.
So, okay. That was a lot of info. Let's see.
Sorry, I've just been blurting.
No, you're doing great. That's what you're here for.
Blurting.
No, not blurting. So tell everybody what you got going on. What's coming up? Hang on, let me pull up your website.
Yeah, have a look. Everybody have a look on the Facebook page.
Hang on, let me
soulmentoring.com is my website. There's lots of whenever I'm on video, doing a YouTube video or a blog video, I just switch these guys on. They and I are like this. So I just follow the ticker tape of what they want me to say. It's always their information and their content. Right. And on soulmentoring.com, and I've been doing this now for nearly 30 years. So I'm just saying that there's a ton of training, lots of courses, lots of recorded training directly from these beings. Can you believe that? With the download of frequency is coming in behind every word. So that you get a download of their frequency of light when you're listening. This is just my homepage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I'm just like taking everybody through it though, but this is well put together. I mean, so up here you've got courses, you got products, you got video workshops, videos, blog, bookings.
Click on video workshops. These video workshops are 1.5 hour senior levels of the spirit world are taking you deep into soul training and then deep into highlight processes. So this particular one, I'm just letting you know that there's huge training here, 1.5 hour training.
So you got now you got YouTube, you got, well, you're on Facebook. I mean, you've got this. And I'm
just under 1 million views on YouTube, which is really fun.
That's powerful. But I mean, you've got a huge archive.
Huge archive.
You've got to. You have to. You've been doing this a long time. I mean, you'd have to. Absolutely.
I have, Todd. I know. I'm like you. I can't not be doing this. I can't not be talking these guys. It's like I have to let these guys through into the density and to wake as many people up as possible. That's my mission. That's their mission. Like we're just this unstoppable motivation.
You're more God, I'm still tongue tied. I feel like I've been in a vortex the whole life. So, but you're more focused on group than you are one-on-ones, right?
Yeah, I don't do one-on-ones.
Okay.
So I've done decades of one-on-ones, and that's not what I do anymore.
Yeah, that's fine.
We do. I just want to say, I'm just like this little kid.
Yeah.
Something. So in groups, like in big groups, 50, 100 people.
Yeah.
When these teams come through me, it's really interesting. I mean, you guys would be interested because you chat to the spirit worlds, but in the group vortex, when there's more people, it's almost as though there's a safety, a power of safety, an electromagnetic safety from shadow, and allows these spirit surgeons to come in to every individual who's in the group and work deeper, faster in their Akashic records and in their soul wounding and healing. So it's really interesting. It's like, it's now been about 10 years that I've just done groups. And these guys are really passionate about group work because it's faster and easier for them to get in and get deeper into people's Akashic records and work. So they love it.
Right
so
on.
yeah.
So, and do you have anything coming up, or is it available? How can people find out what you've got going on if it's something new? I mean, you've got a library, archives, and
I look with your audience because it's quite an advanced audience. So I recommend jumping into soulmentoring.com and going to courses, or products or courses. Courses, that's right. And just scrolling down a little bit. And we're here on the left, on the blue on the left, the monthly live stream. That's our live 1.5 hour every month deep dive, where you get deep surgery by these overseer levels, you know. And then there's these really great courses. The Spirit Tutor Connection, by the way, you guys are looking at the moment, super powerful 9 modules of where, like, for an hour, I take you and introduce you to high authority spirit guides and talk to you and teach you, and they do too, how to dialogue with a high authority spirit guide so that your soul evolution accelerates. And there's 9 hours of training of the different ways that your spirit guide can accelerate you, and what to ask them for, and what to expect, and when this starts happening, how you're going to be experiencing this. And because sometimes with acceleration you get winded a little bit. It's like, help, you know.
No kidding. You end up in the bathroom on your knees throwing up like I wasn't. Having these electrical charges going through my fingers and toes. I was like, what is happening?
You're so brave.
I was wondering how I was going to make it. I thought, I can't cancel. So I was like, so look, this is the year of collaboration, co-creation, expansion, sovereignty. And sovereignty is a much bigger word than what we might think. It's power. And we do that by supporting our brothers and sisters, promoting the new ways of old, you know, equal energy exchanges in the universe apply everywhere but Earth, but now they apply here. But we've got to be the ones that do it. We can't just talk the talk. We got to walk the talk. So let's all support Alicia Power. Get over to soulmentoring.com. Check it out. She has a lot of references and is very well respected in the community. And we're very pleased to have her on again and look forward to future collaboration.
Thank you, Todd. And for everyone, please support Todd as well. Where's your donation button, Todd?
We put up a comment after every show.
Okay, good.
That's what we
so I highly encourage everyone really to support Todd. These guys are running on the smell of an oily rag, as he said. And, and they so deserve everybody's support. So I just pushing it straight back to you too. You know,
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Till next time. See y'all. Take care.
Thank you so much for having me on, Todd. Just really a huge treat to hang out with you, I say.
Well, I hope it's fun.
No, really.
Same here. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.